really the 3 days of practice we had this week and this game were the most he's stacked up good days in a row right now. And so the challenge is going to be to keep pushing in that direction.
Okay, so there are three elements, the way I see it, to evaluating how a quarterback played. The first is you look at the numbers. Those are easy for even people like me who didn't play the game to decipher. Next, you'll look at the highlights. Those are easy for people like me to look at. Then you look at the tape, and that's what I need you for. Did the tape look as good as the numbers in the highlights felt?
Absolutely. Every completion that he had from the pocket was out on no hitch or one hitch, except one. And that was the big thing. When I talk about hitch, imagine for everybody at home, the quarterback getting to the top of their drop and moving up in the pocket. And every time that the quarterback does that, that's kind of known as a hitch. And the hitch tells you when and where to throw the football. And so if you go to the ball down the middle of the field, 1, 2, 3, hitch, that ball is out in 2.11 seconds. That's outstanding. You're going to get a hitch to the top of the screen. The route is just 5 yards down the field. There's no hitch there. That's 2 seconds. This is playing fast. If you just watch Caleb Williams' feet last year to last night, he looks like a different player. This is 1 hitch, 2 hitch, 2.2 seconds. The 1 hitch is to the short, the 2nd hitch is to the long. That's playing with rhythm, back foot hits, and the ball's out. Another opportunity with an out route to the field versus man coverage. 1, 2, 3, there is no hitch there, 2 seconds. So that's the big thing is if you watched Caleb at USC and last year, the thing that we would hitch. And I was around Kyle Shanahan and Gary Kubiak, and they would always tell you, first hitch is the first guy, 2nd hitch to the 2nd guy, 3rd hitch, you either run or get to the check down. And so Caleb has not done that. Last night he did. That's great growth.
And Grady, to that point, last year they had 68 sacks. A lot of those, to Dan's point, he was running backwards. He ran himself into a lot of sacks. So when you want to evaluate a quarterback, you start with their feet. His feet were confident and they were on time. And when you have those 2 tight ends, Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet, and you can control the middle of the field, those are much easier throws. And look, to Dan's point, especially if your hands like he did last night, that's how he's going to get confidence. And this was markedly improved.
Could and couldn't process what he couldn't learn so that he could dial it back for the start of the regulars. But he looked on time. He looked in rhythm. He looked like he was working quick. He looked like he could get Ben Johnson's offense last night.
So the process has to be, okay, me as a coach, I'm going to get the first read open. The coverage is going to tell you who the first read is. I'm going to get him open. Your job, get it out on time to the right guy at the right place. Check. That box was checked last night. The next step is going to be, I'm going to get the first guy open. The defense is going to tell you who to throw the football to, and I didn't. So the defense covered the first guy. And so to Shefty's point, which is an accurate one, the Bills defense was remarkably basic. You think is going to get the ball, and that 2nd hitch comes into play, are you going to listen to your feet? And then that 3rd hitch comes into play.
I know Buffalo was vanilla, but let's face it, like that firm pocket really helps.
You say we don't have to order our preseason Super Bowl tickets yet. But again, if he had gone out last night and he had struggled mightily, you'd be canceling those Super Bowl tickets.
Yeah. I mean, look, if he had played, that's what I would say. To anyone who's saying, hey, slow down, it's just the preseason, what would that same person have said if he went out and had the game that Justin Fields had on Saturday night for the Jets? You'd be saying, uh-oh, he's a bust. It's not going to happen. He's not getting the offense. So these things, they don't count, but they matter. And it looked like just take it for what it is. It was a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah.
We will see. They've got to be ready 3 weeks from tonight. They'll be playing on Monday Night Football against Minnesota. So we've got most of week 2 of the preseason done. Let's do some superlatives. Dan, who had the best throw?
I mean, Russell Wilson. This throw by Russell, the yards in the air. And so if they can give him some pockets that look like this and he still has that ability to launch the ball downfield, that's going to create some explosive plays to players like Malik Neighbors.
So that moon ball was the best throw. Mike T, who had the Cowboys? Will Micah Parsons be on the field that night? Are they getting anywhere in Dallas?
Greeny, I can't give you the actual answer because I don't know if anybody can, but the fact that it's even a question has to give you concern. The Cowboys open the season 2 weeks from Thursday night, and we heard Jerry Jones himself express concern about whether Micah Parsons would be out there. At the very least, he still hasn't practiced all summer long. So how is he supposed to go play a game, even if he does play, with the back tightness that he's experienced? You're certainly not going to get the full Micah Parsons experience on opening night if he even plays at all.
Mike T, you were a general manager in 2 different places. Help me. When the owner is saying, well, the player's under contract, and we've done all the talking we plan to do, and Micah is issuing trade requests on social media, how do those two meet? How do we meet in the middle there? How do they get a deal done?
You get in a room and you say you're going to get your average per year of $42 million a year, because we know that TJ Watt's at 41.5 greeny, and then maybe we win a little bit on the guarantees. But this is totally on Dallas. Nothing that has happened in this defensive end pass rush market is unforeseen, from Donnell Hunter, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, on and on and on. So you have to create a sense of urgency that we're getting in a room and we are not leaving until this deal is done, and both sides have to bend a little bit.
I'm so tired of this situation with the Cowboys, because what was the point of drafting him? Then what was the point of seeing him become what he has become? When you draft a guy like that, you're fully expecting to pay him and hoping to pay him a ton of money, because that means that he's in rating headlines. Because part of me sits there and goes, they'll get this done the night before the game so they can try and steal the thunder away from the Eagles and their banner-raising ceremony for Thursday night in the opening, because you could be the star and then you'll get beat by 25 points.
But Dan, as Greeny and Adam just alluded to, like, that ship has sailed in terms of getting the most competitive Micah Parsons. You know, Shane Steichen will come out when 11's on the field. We're going to go no huddle. We're going to test his conditioning, and now this great player is going to be diminished.
Shane Steichen's an injury.
Kevin Petula.
Right. Nick Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni. We know who you meant. Steichen used to be the offensive coordinator there. The point is, I would agree with you normally, because everything they do feels so performative. This one feels different.
No, totally. This one
it is different. It is different.
Right? They made him mad.
It's gotten personal, and they're no closer to a deal, and there's no reason to think that the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons will be able to work out a deal before the start of the regular season. Now, again, it's August 18th, and sides always can come together. But we want to emphasize, there have been zero contract negotiations since late March and early April. Is that going to change all of a sudden? I don't think so.
Who should be the person who's igniting the conversation?
The owner, like the front office, you're the chief problem-solving officer, and to me, like, you have to say, hey, look, however we got here, we got here. We're going to get in a room. You're a 26-year-old superstar, and we are not leaving until we get this deal done. We have a great offense, and we desperately need you.
All right, let me get to the next situation here, Shefty, because a few days after they play that game, the Commanders will play the Giants. And what is the status of Terry McLaurin in Washington?
Well, the one negligible sign of progress that we've seen here is that the Commanders activated Terry McLaurin off up on Saturday. Now, that should not be confused with any progress in negotiations. I'm told it's quote-unquote status quo between Terry McLaurin and the Commanders, which means they are not close to a deal at this point in time. I think Terry McLaurin continues to look for a deal north of what DK Metcalf got in Pittsburgh, which is $33 million per year. The Commanders are considerably lower. Washington has been unwilling to budge. Terry McLaurin has been unwilling to budge. And we have a standoff now with the regular season getting closer and closer, and there being no sign that a deal is at hand.
Dan is shaking his head like crazy. What?
No McLaurin, this team, this offense, this quarterback will take a significant step back. They just will. Last year was awesome. There was so much that happened that masked some of the inefficiency, the fourth down conversions, and the connection that these two had in massive moments in fourth quarters versus blitz, out on the perimeter. They were huge. And so the overall outcome of the team was amazing, but it masked some of the still football deficiencies that are there. Without McLaurin, this team will take a big step backwards.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit. He was sacked 47 times. They went out, got Laramie Tunsil, drafted Josh Connolly, got Deebo Samuel. He's very important, Greeny. Here's why my glass is half full. We saw James Cook not practice. Then he practiced to get his deal done in Buffalo. They have activated Terry McLaurin off of PUP. Adam, you know way more than I do.
Dude.
All I'm saying is, like, if you look at the Cook situation, at least that's a step in the right direction.
I'm just telling you, without McLaurin, every defense is going to play like 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. And they're going to say, dare you, who are you going to throw the ball too deep over our heads? Who? You know, Debo's a nice player, no question. He's a great player. McCaffrey's going to, but Terry's the guy that puts the real fear of we're going over your head with the big ball that Jayden's great at. Without him, teams are going to play at the line of scrimmage.
That's the leverage the player has, is if all of a sudden, if he's not there and the team starts badly, and then all of a sudden the fans are screaming, we need him. Let's get to the third one here. Maybe the ugliest of them all, Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati. Where are we with this?
Again, stop me when you've heard this before. No progress with Micah. No progress with Terry McLaurin. No progress with Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals.